Are you struggling with change? Do you know that there's something that needs to change in your life and you just don't know how to go about it? In this video, I'm going to give you 4 simple steps on how to do this. My name is Tania Mather and I am a Master Wellness Coach with the International Association of Wellness Professionals. And it's a great joy to be here with you today. And my focus as a wellness coach is primarily with stress management. I help people thrive more in life by having less stress and more energy. And let's face it, when you're stuck in a situation and you're stuck in habitual behavior, what happens is that it's really draining our energy to a large extent without even us being aware of it. So when we look at change and we want to see something that in our lives that is just not working for us, and sometimes we look outside of ourselves. We want other things to change. We want to see a change in our lives. And what the secret is really, and it's very powerful because the change happens within us. And when it happens within us, that's when everything around us changes. It's a bit of a paradox, but I really believe that this world is a little bit of a paradox. And when we start seeing life as a paradox, we'll realize how humorous it can be in bringing in this. So anyway, so let's have a look at this. I'm going to give an example of, say, for example, just so that you can understand it, say public speaking. Okay, it's one of the biggest fears that people have. And it's one of the things that people would love to be able to change in public speaking and not to experience the fear. Okay, so it's just a personal experience of how you can do it. I'll give you some other examples later on. So usually what happens is the brain predicts. Okay, this is what happens. The brain predicts things. That's what it's there to do. So when I am about to get onto the stage to give a public speech and I've had a bad experience, okay, and my heart starts, or I'm fearing, what are they going to say? What are they going to think of me? Am I going to fall when I get onto the stage? And I can start thinking about all these things, of these fear-based hypothetical situations that could occur, and it's having a physiological effect in my body. And public speaking is quite interesting because there's a word for it, and it's called glossophobia. Glosso means tongue in Greek, and phobia means fear. So it's the fear and the tongue. You know how we get tongue-tied, and that's really what I love that word. So we have a fear of that, and what happens is that because we go into the fear mode, we go into the stress mode, our body starts to hyperventilate, and we feel that, and it's just a spiraling effect. So how can we stop this from happening? Because fear, to a large extent, shapes our lives, and our brain is there to make sure that we're safe and so on. But really what we need to do is take these situations and change them. And because sometimes we even fear change itself. We want things to stay the same. But sometimes what happens when we really want something to change and we don't know how to do it? The first thing that we need to do is to become aware of what we want to change. So I'll go back to the situation of getting on stage. So I'm fearing I've got to get up on stage, for example, or I've got to face my coworker, or I've got to face my child, or I've got to face my partner, or whoever it is that we might fear. And our mind will start going into this habitual dialogue. Boom, 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 whatever it is. Oh, whatever if I make a mistake or so on. So what do? I become aware of the sensation in my body. That is the first thing that I do. And I'm saying, okay, I have a self-awareness of the fact that this is there. And from this place of self-awareness, we have greater choice. Okay? And what do I mean by this? I mean by the thing is that we can become fully present in that moment, and we realize that our heart is beating. We have certain thoughts, and we can become aware of those thoughts. And it's like, what if I fall? Why not tell ourselves a different story and say, what if I'm successful? This is exciting. My heart that is racing is not out of fear. It's actually out of, there's an excitement to get up on stage and to share the message that I have to tell. Or when you, for example, what comes up to me is say, for example, you've got somebody comes through the door. My daughter, sometimes she's in a mood, and I'm like, oh, she comes back from school and it's like, oh, I'm dreading, what mood is she going to be in? When I stop and I just become aware of whatever it is, of any negative talk or negative emotions that are coming through into me, I try and find neutrality. And that is basically what is the third thing. And how do we get neutral about things? We get neutral about things by becoming curious. Curiosity, what it does is it invites us to become a little bit more playful, and it keeps us in neutrality. So what we do is we look at the situation, like say, for example, getting onto the stage. It's like, oh, I'm feeling this. And it's like, oh, I'm feeling this. But maybe it's not the fear. Maybe it's the excitement. So we look at it with curiosity. When my daughter walks through the door, it's like, oh, I wonder how she's coming through. I'm not going to say, oh, you had a bad day, huh? It's just like, so how was your day? And really listen from a place of neutrality. It changes our relationships, it changes our lives, because we're not going to be shaped by fear, we're not going to be shaped by stress. And I think one of the things one of the last things that we need to become very aware of is to become aware of what we can change and what we can't change. Our outside environment, we really can't change a lot of what's going on around us, but what we can change is what goes on inside of us. And for this, we require that self-awareness that I mentioned before. I just want to give you another example, so that you can understand. I had a client not so long ago sharing a story about how she was on her way to a shop, and it took her 25 minutes to get to the shop where she was to return an item. And she was scared that they were going to not accept the change, or at least she was going to return the item. So she spent the whole 25 minutes in the car sort of thinking, you watch, they're not going to do this. And her whole mind was thinking about, she's going to get there, they're not going to accept it, and then she's going to get mad. And that's all what we call rumination. And we just go, our mind goes into this incessant dialogue that is often from our past experiences, or even maybe from our subconscious mind, which is really dominating 95% of our existence. So it's only a short window of 25% where we are fully aware. Let's try and just broaden that. So as she was driving in the car, she's going over this dialogue, and she gets to the counter and she says, you watch, and she's thinking about it. And she says, you watch this old cow, she's going to not accept my change and whatever. And then she goes there and she says, can I change this? And the woman said, hi, sure, you can change it. And she said, I spent those 30 minutes, it was probably 30 minutes, in this negative self-talk. And that is exhausting. That is just like, why? Why not just in that moment driving on the way to the shop, looking at, be present of what you're seeing, changing that experience. And I think what I'm saying here is that the more self-aware we become, the more aware of the situation that we're in and become fully present in this moment in time, our experience of our lives are so much better. And this is the place where we can experience change. And let's face it, change is natural. The seasons change, we change, life changes, things around us change. And it's really having the wisdom to know what we can change. And let's face it, out there we can't change much. Things are happening to us, but what we can change is within us. And it's within our power, and it's very powerful to know this. Thank you for listening. I hope you have enjoyed it. With the Wellness Coach channel that we have, all of our wonderful professionals, you'll find some fantastic information and other videos from our wellness professionals. And if you'd like to hear more from me, you'll find my website. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.